see the title down below, folks. That's right. It's the return of the monthly opinions, the August 2013 edition of my monthly opinions on the Sonic the Hedgehog comic book and franchise. I know it's been quite some time. Too long, huh? And I'll tell you, folks, 2.5 years. Can you believe it? Two and a half years. Or actually 2 years, 2 months. But basically almost 2.5. 2 years, 2 months ago, 225 was released. That's right, 225 was released. The epilogue, or the prologue to the first Genesis wave, and the prologue to probably the longest running Sonic story arc in recent memory. That started 2 years and 2 months ago. 2 years, 2 months ago. Hard to believe. 50 months ago. 2 years, 2 months. Unbelievable. But that's not all. After that, issue 230, which came out less. It came out 230, which came out 2 months shy of a 2-year run. 2 months shy. Basically 46 months ago. 1 year, 10 months ago. Started something at the end of that issue that nobody would ever forget. Something that, including with 225, the first Genesis run, plus that, plus what we had gone in between, all over, consisting from the main comic to the spin-off, went on to be one of the most controversial and most talked about story arcs in recent memory. The Mecha Sally arc, or as I like to call it, the Mecha Sally Death Egg Mark II World Tour 2 arc. And this arc, ladies and gentlemen, spanned, for you people that are new to this, that need catching up, this spanned from literally the main comic right into the universe comic. And it was throughout essentially these 2 years, 2 months, these 50 months, we've had fans debating on each side. We've had fans going against what's happened in the comic, not just to the Sally character, but to all the freedom fighters. We've had people embrace what's happened, say they love the change, because it basically puts a spotlight on other characters. Most importantly, it puts the spotlight on the game cast. And now fast forward 2 years and 2 months later, 50 months later, and things are about to come to a close. That's right. Things are about to come to a close, folks. The epilogue to this story arc ends in a few weeks. The start, the epilogue of the story arc ends in a few weeks. Well, at the same time, the prologue to a new story arc begins. And this new story arc involves a lot of things that fans are not too happy about. In fact, a lot of fans have questioned why. Now, some other fans have agreed that it's great. It's terrific. And you have a mixture of fans that are like, yeah, we're cool with it. We just don't like how it came about. And you know what? That's what's helped make this one of the most controversial story arcs in history. My personal opinion, and I've come out and said it. I said this 2 years ago, and I'll say it again. Well, I said this, well, not 2 years ago. Well, close to it. Okay? I said this 22 months ago. Yeah. 22 months ago. I said this. 22 months ago, I said this. I said 22 months ago that I'm not a fan about her being turned into a robot, but I'm willing to accept it. And 22 months ago, I said this. I said I would not read another issue. I would not open another issue until she was restored. And whether people agree with it or not, I have lived up to that word. The only exceptions have been the crossover. You might say to yourself, well, why, Brian? Why? Because I want to look at it in its entirety. I want to see exactly where the complaints lie, where the good, the bad lies. I understand you need to shake things up, and boy, did they ever shake things up. But you see, you also have to realize why it happened. Realize it. Think of it. Why did it happen? Why did in 2011 this all happen? Why in 2011 did this all happen? Hold on for a second. Sorry about that. I thought that was my sister coming back from my mom. But anyway, why do you think 2011 this all took place? 20th anniversary of the franchise, folks. And how do you celebrate the 20th anniversary of the franchise? Very quite simply, you celebrate a whole year of it by dedicating a whole year, if not more so, to a story arc where the people that have to save the freaking world, or save that planet they live on, is the game cast. They did that for the game cast. And you can debate that all you want, but it's the truth. It's fact. Because now you take a look, 2 years later, who's getting the spotlight now? Who's getting the spotlight starting in a few weeks and into the end of the year? Exactly. The Saturday Amcast is getting the spotlight, even if they've been redesigned. They're getting the spotlight. You know, folks, I have read summary after summary, review after review, DeviantArt journal entry after DeviantArt journal entry. I have read full topic after topic at each and every Sonic-related forum, from Sonic Stadium to the Sega forums, to Sonic Saturday, the Saturday AM Sonic Fans United for Saturday AM, to SaturdayMorningSonic.com. I have read every single. And you know what I've gotten out of most of them? Mixed reactions. I've even, by God chance, been able to read the messages and the topics at the Bumble King forums. Every single one of those entries, those topics, have all been mixed. You've had one side dedicate a group on an artist on DeviantArt, which I am a part of. Dedicate a group that's against what's happened. And not just against what happened to Sally, but against what Ian Flynn is doing. Feeling as though he's not living up to what a writer is supposed to live up to. And yet you have, on the other side, you have a group of fans that support what he's done. They're cool with it. And they're basically saying, hey, you guys are throwing this out of proportion. It's good. Give it a chance. And of course you've got in the middle, you've got people like me. People like me that look at what's going on and we say to ourselves, what's with these people? What is with them? I'll tell you what's with them. You have the longtime fans that don't like what's going on because they feel that Archie Comics and Sega themselves, not just Ian, and not just Ian either, but they feel that Sega and Archie Comics is trying to slowly push the Saturday AM cast out. Ian Flynn has basically come out and said that cast is here to stay. So I don't know what the problem is. Again, I'll tell you what the problem is. It's called change. Yeah, some of us don't like change. Some of us would rather keep things the same. But we have to accept it. You know, I was watching Nostalgia Critic's video where he talked about the Looney Tunes show being good or bad. And I watched that and I said to myself, you know what, that's very similar to what's going on here. Because you have fans that are embracing the Looney Tunes show saying this is exactly the Looney Tunes. They're just different in some ways. It is the Looney Tunes. You know, it may not be exactly how you remember, but it is them. Yeah, they may not be out in the wilderness going, rabbit season, duck season, rabbit season, duck season. It's still them. And then, of course, one of the biggest complaints he noticed that people say is Lola. They don't like what they did to Lola. Look, I'm 50-50 with Lola. I am. I like the fact that Christine Rigg, one of the funniest women in the business, is voicing her. And she brings that personality to this new loonified version of her. I get that. I like that. But there's a reason for it. There's a reason for it. You see, as much as we like Lola for what she was in Space Jam, and no doubt about that, that is the Lola that we love and we respect and we appreciate and we are always going to be fans of. But in retrospect, I also understand why they did what they did with her in the Looney Tunes show. They wanted to give her more of a personality. They wanted to give her more of a change. They wanted to keep her the same. Heck, there are episodes, like the Christmas episode, where they reference Lola's character from Space Jam, with the basketballs and stuff like that. But they gave her her personality. That's the big change, and some fans don't like it because of what's happened. Heck, you want another example of change, folks? You want another example of change? Something that fans have been split 50-50 on, including myself. Nickelodeon's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This first inaugural season, one of the biggest changes they did. You know what that big change was? You know what that big, mega-sized change was? April. April. And you know why? Because behind the scenes, FCC or whoever didn't feel that it would be appropriate in today's society to have a grown-up April align herself with teenage turtles. That the best way to do it, FCC or whoever's in charge of Nickelodeon, figured the best way to do it, let's shrink April back into a teenager. Let's make her a teenager. Let's make her an equal. And then let's give her a dad. Let's bring her dad in. Let's bring her dad in. Let's make him the adult. You know what's funny about that? Again, just like what's going on in the comics, 50-50. You have fans that are okay with it because they understand the fact that if you're going to have April with them, that yes, she should be about their age. I get that. That's understandable, especially in today's society. But I also get the fact that long-term fans, like even myself, look at it like, yeah, it's cool and everything, but that's not the April that we know. That's not the real April. The real April we know is from the original show. It's from the original black and white show, black and white comics, the 80s show. Those are the Aprils. Those alone are the Aprils that are the real deal, not this. And some even argue, well, why did they do it? Why? So they can give Donatello a love interest? A love interest who's a freaking human teenager? Go figure. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, the point is, doesn't matter if it's the Turtles, doesn't matter if it's the Looney Tunes show, they both have the similar, basically both fan bases of the shows are similar to what's going on with Sonic. Because in the Sonic comic, you have fans that are okay with what's going on, and you have fans that don't. There's always going to be that divide down the middle, and then of course you're going to have the group in the middle of all of it. You're going to have the group that's in the middle of it. You're going to have the group that's in the middle saying, you know, look, we understand you like it and you don't like it, but right now there's nothing we can do. We just got to accept it for what it is. We just got to accept it and see what goes from there. That's basically what it is, folks. You just got to accept it. People have to accept it. You may not like it, you may like it, doesn't matter. You have to accept what's going on, whether you like it or not, and just see how far it goes. I mean, it's all based on popularity. If these redesigns of the characters don't go in the direction, that Archie and Sega are hoping for, and even Ian Flynn's hoping for, then no doubt they're going to probably change them. They'll probably change them back. There's no doubt about that. I mean, heck, take a look at the Ninja Turtles on Nickelodeon. It is a huge hit, there's no doubt about it, but in time, in the next 2 seasons that are planned, if April doesn't still get over as she is, then there's no doubt that if they decide, okay, we're going to make a new Ninja Turtle series, they're going to put April back to the way she was. I mean, heck, they're already doing that with the movie coming out next year. They're already doing that with the movie coming out next year. The fact is, folks, it doesn't matter if a character, it doesn't matter if you like something or you don't. As long as you could say, as long as you could just stick in that, as long as you could be like those in the middle and say, okay, I may not like it, but I'm going to see where it goes from here, then go ahead. But you know, that's not the only thing that really got debated throughout this entire year, throughout this entire run. No. You know what also got debated, folks? It was how Sally, after she was roboticized, got weaponized. There's a lot of people that pretty much assume that she was gutted. She was taken apart and rebuilt. And they got a right to their opinion, but honestly, I don't see that. Heck, you've had people take artistic liberties on DeviantArt and basically draw up what they feel. I mean, heck, you have one artist on DeviantArt recently draw up a picture from Sally's point of view of her being weaponized. I don't see that. I see, honestly, this being a all-ages comic, if you will, I see, honestly, Sally having weaponized armor welded onto her. That's what I see. I don't see anything else. Yeah, the cannon part, the cannon part may have already been established inside of her, or may have been put inside, that's fine. But I don't see no brain being removed or anything. That's my opinion. But again, that too is kind of back and forth. It is. It's back and forth, folks. And nobody can accept that. Nobody can agree to disagree, okay, let's just see, maybe we'll agree like, okay, she is weaponized, but let's see if we'll ever find out how it happened. And here's the thing. Let me check my time here, because I got a 29-minute limit on my camera. But let's look at this from this point of view, folks. We're either going to get an answer, or we're not going to get an answer. Sometimes when something happens, you're going to get an answer, but you're not going to get an answer. One of the complaints people have always had this past 2 years with this story arc is those plot holes. That there is stuff that needs to be answered, but Ian Flynn fails to do so. Not everybody is perfect. Look, I agree, there are some things I truly believe Ian needs to answer for when it comes to the story arc. There are things he really needs to answer for. I'm not denying that. And I think Ian Flynn knows it too. Heck, Ian Flynn has even admitted in a recent interview that this story arc went too long. And that there was no payoff. And that is one part he's answered to, one thing he's answered for. Now he's going to answer for anything else that people are going to ask him about. And if he doesn't give an explanation of how she was weaponized, people will know he's not giving them a payoff on that. People will know, that he copped out by just having her weaponized, but not explaining how it happened. Just leaving it up to imagination. The truth is, he's going to have to answer for what he's done. He's going to have to answer for the plot holes he's left open. I mean, Ian Flynn, I will give the guy credit. My problems aside with him, Ian Flynn did admit that he did not want to do the crossover when he did. He admitted that the true goal of this entire arc was to be over by 250. But it wasn't. The crossover came in, he had to improvise and work around that, kind of implement it into the continuity, if you will, and there you go. The fact of the matter is, folks, he will have a lot to atone for. He will have a lot to answer for. And if he doesn't, then it shows he doesn't really care about this fan base. So he's got a lot to answer for. He's got a lot to answer for when it comes to what plot holes were left open. Why this happened, why that happened, why Bunny ran off instead of sticking around. Why this, why that. He's got a lot to answer for, and hopefully going into Countdown to Chaos we will get those answers. But you know, folks, it's not just his fault either. I mean, his sub-arc before the at all cost story, the sub-arc, which was Endangered Species, Ian had a lot planned for that. And what happens? He had a lot planned for that sub-arc to be a part of the continuity of the Mecha Sally arc. And what happened? He had to switch that around because of the lawsuit behind the scenes with Penders and Archie Comics. And how do you have to switch it around? By having a plant that first appeared in the very first issue of the comic possess a metal knuckles, if you will, and then get captured by Sonic, put in a jar, are captured and defeated by Shard, Sonic, Amy, and Tails, then put in a jar and taken back to New Metropolis as a potential de-roboticizing agent. And a lot of people, they look at that and they say that is a stupid cop-out. And it's true, it may be a cop-out. It may not make sense. But it's because of the lawsuit that everything of that last major 4-part story arc before At All Costs and the crossover, because of that lawsuit, that's the reason he went there. That's the reason he went in that direction. Fact is, folks, we may not, like I said, we may not agree with each other. We may not agree with what Ian Flynn has done. We may not agree with Ken Pendis and the lawsuit interfering. We may not agree with Sega stepping in and sticking the nose in what many of us consider is not really any of their business. The thing is, it's been a heck of a 2 years, 2 months. If you would, it's been a heck of a 15 months run for the story arc, up front and behind the scenes. And now things really start to get interesting. And now it comes to an end. So the question being, what happens with Countdown to Chaos? What happens afterwards? Where do we go from there? Where do we go from there, folks? Again, we can agree or disagree. Or we could come together like some of us in a group have and said, you know what, let's just see what happens. We may not like it, or we may like it, but let's see where it goes. It's like I said with the whole Turtles and Looney Tunes show examples. Let's say within the next 2 years, April's teenage character doesn't get over much anymore. And people would rather prefer seeing an adult April like they're going to see in the movie next year. There's no doubt that when a new series is developed, and there will be, don't count that out, they'll probably go back to the older April. And the same thing with the Looney Tunes show. If the new Loonified Lola Bunny, voiced by Kristen Rigg, doesn't get over much in the next few years, then yeah, they're going to go back to the Lola that we saw in Space Jam. Heck, even Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated has had the same stuff. It's had 50-50 fan base, liking it and disliking it. There are people that like Fred and Daphne's romantic involvement together, but if that doesn't work in the upcoming direct-to-video movies, and if there's another new series down the line, then yeah, they're going to probably go to the pairing that fans want to see and they know is workable, and that's Shaggy and Daphne. The thing is, folks, it's all about whether or not it's going to be a success or it's going to work. That's what it's about. It's whether or not it's going to be a success or it's going to work. But as fans, we just got to sit back and see what happens, and whether we like it or not, and see where they go with it. And if it's good, then hey, let's support it. If it's not, then we'll let them know that we don't like it and we're not supporting it. So that's all really I'm going to say in this return of the monthly opinions of the Sonic the Hedgehog comic book and franchise. In closing, let me say this, because this is about the franchise as well. The new games that are being showcased, like Lost World, and Sonic and like Lost Worlds looks very well, looks very good. I'm looking forward to it. And Sonic Boom being developed by the person that did My Little Pony Friendship and Magic, we'll just see exactly what we get there. So that's all I'm going to say. Comment below, let me know what you guys think. And thank you for watching this return of the monthly opinions of the Sonic the Hedgehog comic book and franchise, August 2013 edition.